Good evening, everybody. We thank you for joining the Power Sports Hour. This is Leonard Lucas, and I will be your host for tonight. We got a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about in the NFL, and we want you to stay tuned. The first topic we're going to be talking about the Saints. The New Orleans Saints, we know, had a routing defeat against the Panthers in a division game where we're seeing some of the intangibles of what we're seeing from 2019 from Jameis Winston, where he threw two interceptions to be lost to a 26-7 loss of the Saints against the Packers. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. We're going to be discussing a little bit about the intangibles of the Saints team, what they're going to need to get it done, and going back and revisiting from last week, talking about the conversation that me and my co-host Kendall Spears had speaking about the wide receiver problems. A little bit about Lamar Jackson, a little bit about Teddy Bridgewater. We're going to be spreading it around all across the NFL. It's going to be a great show, a bunch of great topics. So we want you to stay tuned. You're going to be in live with me for 57 minutes. We don't want you to go anywhere because it's going to be a great show tonight. Before we get started with the first topic or with the first topic of this episode, we want you now to go to our Twitter page at B3CUZ Podcast and follow us. You can also follow us on Facebook. And we're right now simultaneously broadcasting on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live. So if you're definitely on there, we definitely want you to do something real quickly. Get into this chat room quickly. Shout us out. Get into the chat room because we want to get your participation. That's what it's all about. This is one of the broadcasts and podcasts where we have people come together and chat and give opinions in real time, and we talk about it. So we definitely want you to go right now and follow us. You can see it right now on the screen. You can follow us right now on Twitter at B3CUZ Podcast. Again, that's B3CUZ PODCAST. Again, that's B3CUZ PODCAST. We want you to follow right now on our Twitter page. Let's get started with the first topic. The Saints lost to the Panthers 26-7. And all of the stands who were against Jameis Winston were definitely happy. Where Winston was 11 for 22, throwing for 111 yards, no touchdowns. He ran a touchdown in, but he had two interceptions. And when you look at the total stats for that game, there was only 128 yards compared to Carolina 383 yards. And one of the things that I really want to talk about that really dominated the game was the ability to get first downs, where we seen that Carolina had the ability to get three times as more first downs than the Saints. They had 28. The Saints had six. Third down efficiency, we seen it was 2 for 11 compared to the Carolina 8 for 15. And one of the things I really want to talk about and discuss today, I really did not know how much a team unit is needed. All of these coaches that were out, and majority of the coaches were offensive coaches, line, and all of these different coaches. I really thought that in this game that Sean Payton and Dennis Allen was going to be enough to beat Carolina. But I was gravely mistaken from what I've seen today. I mean, from what I've seen from Sunday, is that it takes a team effort. It truly takes a team effort. And one of the things that I've seen as I was watching the game are just certain adjustments that can be made from offensive line coaches. Sean Payton is a great, what we call an offensive guru. But when it comes to just adjustments on that line, an offensive line coach, someone who has been on the field, someone who has done thousands of hours, tens of thousands of hours, and played that position, who are coaching, these young guys like Cesar Ruiz and all of these offensive players, is definitely needed. And what we seen from Sunday was definitely just a tremendous defeat from not having the amount of resources to be able to tell the line what they needed to do, the adjustments that needed to be made, especially in halftime. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons to Sunday loss. I'm not going to complain and say that the Saints did not get beat. They did get beat. Carolina was definitely the better team on last week, but there was a lot of issues that were at play. There were a lot of players that were at play. We didn't have Marshawn Lattimore. Marcus Davenport was out. So a lot of top tier players were out. And because of that, I think that was contributing to the loss. Many commentators had New Orleans Saints winning the football game because of the just tremendous route that they had against Green Bay. The New Orleans Saints football team is a team full of upside. Don't get me wrong; they have the ability to trend on an upward level, even with Jameis Winston. They still have all the intangibles there. Quan Alexander was hurt. You still have Demario Davis. You still have a lot of key components with Malcolm Jenkins being a senior veteran on the safety side, of course, teaching Marcus Williams, and you've seen how Marcus Williams have developed. You've got PJ Withers and Adebo, and all these people on the defensive side. My question has always been this season on the offensive side, not with Jameis. I always thought that Jameis was going to be able to ball. In this game, I think is an anomaly. I don't think we're going to see it. I think you're going to see the Saints trim upside. It's not like I'm talking as a fan, but I'm talking really objectively. Looking at the stats, I think the Saints are going to be fine. I think they're going to be good. I really believe that they have the intangibles to win football games, especially against the Patriots. I believe they're playing the Patriots on next week. Let me make sure. I don't know. I don't know if it was the Patriots or the Giants. Yeah, they play the Patriots on Sunday, and so they have the ability to win football games. Don't get me wrong. I think they have everything that they need to get rid of football games. The question then becomes with the wide receiver core. That's what I've been upset with, and this is the questions I've been having. Just with the wide receiver core, when we look at just the numbers again this week, the guy that had the most receptions for the New Orleans Saints on Sunday was Alvin Kamara, who's not even a wide receiver. When you talk about Jordan Humphrey, he had one reception for 27 yards. When you talk about Jawan Johnson, he only had one reception for 23 yards. And when you're talking about Marquise Callaway, he only had 8 yards. And this is supposed to be a guy that's going to be the wide receiver one for us until Traquan Smith and Michael Thomas get back on the helm. And so when we're looking at these type of things, that's always been my question. These guys are not starters per se in any other team besides the New Orleans Saints. When you look at this, you will see that these guys are definitely not starters. They're not starter material. These guys are second string, third string guys that are trying to be starters. There was a old movie with Keanu Reeves. It was a football movie with Keanu Reeves. Let me go back and try to get to that movie. And that's what those, I believe it was called The Replacements, I believe. And that movie was about a bunch of these guys. It was called The Replacements. It was about a lockout season where a bunch of these guys who were coming from college football, who were has-beens, who did not know how to play, those guys came in to replace a professional football team. And that's what we're seeing from our wide receiver play. These guys are not, to say the least, have the talent like Michael Thomas, the talent like Traquan Smith, even though I don't think Traquan Smith is a Pro Bowl candidate, to say the least, or a great wide receiver. I believe that he's average at best to good. And I like Traquan. He's done well, but he's been very injury prone. And I don't think that the Saints, looking at his value from injuries, I don't think the Saints are going to have him for a while. I've seen that we made additions to get Kenny Stills, which is, I think, is another great thing. This is a guy who can get open. This is a guy who can definitely handle himself in his own right on the offensive side of the ball. And so these are the things that we're going to have to, the Saints are going to have to make adjustments with in real time on that wide receiver core until we can get Michael Thomas back. I think Michael Thomas is going to open up a lot for the offense. Kamara can only do so much, especially in receiving. He can only do so much. And that is one of the reasons why I think they're going to have to make some different adjustments in the playbook to get Jameis to make great reads, and it's going to come to first with the offensive line protecting. What happened against the Panthers was just abysmal. It was abysmal. It was probably one of the worst performances they have played. The offensive line has played in many years. We know that Drew Brees has the ability to survey the field, and one of the things that he's great at is just his surgical precision. But not only his precision, the ability to look at his reads and glance his reads very fast. In the middle of 1.9 seconds, Drew Brees can have looked at the 2 to 3 reads and go to 2 3 options. I know the question has always been about who he is, who he has been as a player for the last 3 years was his arm strength. But when we talk about Drew Brees, we've never said, even in his last year, that he was not surgical, that he was not tactical. Drew Brees is one of the most surgical and tactical professional quarterbacks that we've ever seen that play the game. That was never the question about Drew Brees. The question has always been about his arm strength and Sean Payton not being able to open up the playbook like he wanted to. He has a guy in Jameis where he can open up the playbook. My weak link for the Saints is the receiver play. I don't know what Thomas is going to do. I don't know if he's going to want to play, but we definitely need him. We definitely need Traquan Smith, and we definitely need all hands on deck on the wide receiver part of the ball. The thing I like about this season is that the schedule is not as hard. We have the ability to win 10 to 11 games. I don't think that we're going to win more than 11 games, even though it's a 17-game season. I don't believe that they can win more just for this fact that, the running game, it all starts with the running game. And that was one of the things that just was locked up. Kamara couldn't get anything going. Tony Jones Jr. couldn't get anything going. And so when you look at that, that was just what happened compared to Green Bay, where they were able to just run Green Bay down the field. You started seeing on the rushing side of the ball that Jameis Winston was the leading rusher. Jameis Winston was the leading rusher, with Hill having 16 and Kamara having 8 carries for only 5 yards. That's not going to get the game. That's not going to get the job done. And that was one of the biggest reasons for the loss. Of course, we talked about also the coaches not being there, having COVID, having to go to the COVID protocol also played a big point in that stretch. So I think the Saints are going to be fine. I'm definitely going to be looking at them in real time, week by week, giving you more updates about what they're going to be capable of, what they're capable of doing, and then really just seeing how they can make adjustments for as their play. And so I think the Saints are going to be okay. You're definitely going to see them go to the playoffs. It's going to be a stretch. We see Panthers and Tampa Bay are both 2-0, but I think this is not a cause for concern right now at this time. I think the Saints are going to be fine at this time. I really want to talk a little bit about Lamar Jackson. I think we really need to take another consideration for him for being MVP. I think his upside as a player, what he did on, I believe it was Monday night. No, it was Sunday night football. Sunday night football against the Chiefs was just nothing short of amazing. Does he have the same amount of talent as the Chiefs? Of course not. The Honey Badger with Tyrann Mathieu on the safety side and the defense, and you have Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and all those great veteran guys who just have gelled and together and who have created this repertoire in the Chiefs of being probably the most prolific offense in football for the last 4 years. You really don't beat Mahomes unless you're perfect. You have to be perfect on every side of the ball to beat that Kansas City team. They have the ability to score points in bunches, and that's what you've seen against that game where there was a 35-36 win. But what I've seen from Baltimore and what I've seen from Lamar Jackson is just his ability to keep fighting. This guy really wants it, and that's the thing that he's been talking about for the whole year. He really wants it. He wants to win. He wants to get a championship. And I think Baltimore truly has a gem in Lamar Jackson, with a guy that's going to fight every down for his team. He makes great reads. Of course, there were some throws where he did throw some interceptions. But besides that, he still fought. He still had grit. He had determination. When it comes on just some of those RPOs that they were able to do, when it came on some of the option plays that he was able to make, nobody can catch him on the open field. He's probably one of the fastest quarterbacks that we've ever seen in pro football. A lot of people try to nitpick him between him and Michael Vick, who's the fastest. But I think Lamar Jackson what he's able to do. He's just more of a shifty guy than Vic ever was. Of course, Vic is a great, phenomenal football player, one of the best quarterbacks when it came to the rushing attack, and he also could throw the ball, was very accurate at throwing the ball. It's just what Lamar Jackson is just one of those guys who just has a talent that a freakish talent. He's a once in a lifetime generational talent. And when you look at him, when you look at what has Lamar has been able to do with this Baltimore team that does not really have really Pro Bowl caliber type of receivers, he has given the ability to go to the playoffs, go deep in the playoffs, and have the ability to fight for titles multiple years. One of the things that they've had to really adjust is really getting those wide receivers to really buy into the system, and that's been the conversation that Harbaugh has been having with his guys. You've got to buy into the system every single down. You've got to run like it's your last leg, and that's what we've been seeing from them with Hollywood, Marquise Brown, and all these other great receivers as a part of that receiver core. They have really bought into trusting in their quarterback. They have one of the top quarterbacks in the game in the National Football League, and what Lamar Jackson has been able to do, he has been able to just be himself. And I think that's really gave him the ability to be comfortable in his own skin, to know he's going to make some mistakes, to know that he's not always going to be perfect. But in the middle of him not being perfect, he's still going to be able to be Lamar Jackson, and he's going to be able to do great things with his offense because he's just a once in a generational talent. So I do believe he's an early candidate for MVP, just for the fact that he beat a great team in the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. He's going to be great. He's going to be phenomenal. He's going to do well. And I believe that he's going to go deep into that AFC division, going to the AFC Championship. I believe that even though Bills Mafia was a great team, I believe they're a one-and-done team. Josh Allen's a great player. What they've been able to do with Stephon Diggs, probably one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in football right now, probably compared to Devontae Adams. They have a very great team, but I believe that you're going to see Lamar Jackson. I think Tennessee Titans is on the downside. You're going to be seeing Lamar Jackson and the Chiefs in the playoffs playing each other again. You should definitely look out for that. Listen, we got 10 more minutes. We're going to get this off the way. We want to talk a little about Teddy Bridgewater, man. We've seen what Teddy Bridgewater has been able to do over these last 2 games playing for the Denver Broncos. And one of the things I've seen about him, he looks very much like Drew Brees. Teddy, who's been playing for the Broncos, and he's been spraying all around. Last year he was with Carolina. But I've seen this year from Teddy, he's a more comfortable player. I didn't see him really air the ball out. Didn't see a lot of deep passes, but that wasn't his game anyway. His game has been very tactical. And I can tell that when I was looking at Teddy Bridgewater playing, he looked like he learned more from Drew Brees than Jameis did, even though Jameis had less amount of time than Teddy to glean from Drew Brees. It looked like Teddy Bridgewater definitely had more to glean from Drew Brees than Jameis, because Jameis' style is just Jameis. He airs it out. He's definitely become a little bit less aggressive in his play than years before. But what I seen from Teddy, he was so surgical. Those short passes, he was right on the money. He made a great reads. He was not trying to be a hero. He was trying to just win the game by getting first downs. He was winning the game by just making the best read, going to that third option, usually mostly the third option where most of his passes was passed to his tight end. He was trying to get Courtney Sutton open. And that's one of the things that he was really trying to do. I think Teddy is going to be able to do some great things with this offense. He's going to be tremendous. And they have the ability, if they really become grounded and collectively buy into this, they can possibly make it to the wild card playoffs if they have the ability. They're already 2-0. They have tremendous upside, and I think that's what you're going to be seeing from this team with the Denver Broncos. You guys stay tuned. You're going to be seeing a lot of things from our podcast. That's it for the Sports Power Hour. We'll be giving you more. Stay tuned. We'll be back.